We are recording today's episode of My Stylish Life from Africa's leading design and decor exhibition, Decorex Joburg. And this exhibition really is for exhibitors to showcase their innovations, but also for the public to get direct access to world-class suppliers and also an overload of inspiration, hey Bridge? And we've been here
amazing.
this is day 2 for us now, and feeling really, really inspired, hey?
So inspired. It's fantastic. And also just want to say, for people in the trade, obviously interior designers, architects, product designers, the retailers involved in interiors, it's just such a fabulous platform for people to connect with one another.
Yeah, network, do business.
Network, catch up with people that, are based all around the country. You don't get to see all the time. It's just a very kind of inspirational place to be for a few days. So, guys, we have our first special guest today. We'd love to invite Bielle Bellingham, the Executive Creative Director of Decorex Africa. Welcome, Bielle.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for being at the show.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming to chat to us. So I think to start off with, let's chat about this year's theme. We did read up, it's Designing for Impact. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what that means?
Yes, I can wax lyrical about this forever.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I think we are all realizing more and more that design is not just about aesthetics.
Sure.
It's really a powerful tool for change. Specifically in South Africa and on our continent, we really believe that we need to pay attention to its power.
Yes.
So that is where, deciding that this was our theme for this year, Designing for Impact, was a way of guiding our decision making in our curation of the show, how we go about things, but also as a nod or a prompt to our exhibitors, saying, collectively, you mentioned community.
Be more conscious.
Yeah, collectively, you mentioned community, and that we can, as a community, if we work together, drive and have significant impact. So that's
very
where it's
powerful.
come from. Yeah.
Yes, I love that. That's fabulous.
Sure.
Let's chat a little bit about 100% Design and Decorex Africa. What are the differences between the two? How do they come together?
So originally there were two separate exhibitions, and we've co-located them to the benefit of the visitor. So they do have a different feeling, a different character, but we've decided to put them at the same time. So it's a one-stop shop. It is Africa's largest curated exhibition by combining the two. But they do have a bit of a different flavor. Decorex Joburg and Decorex Africa are more focused at, I guess, your homeware and your building aspects and your kitchens and your bathrooms and ways to improve your home in many, many ways. So kind of practical, slightly more practical, very inspirational. But kind of more useful in many, many ways. 100% Design Africa then focuses more on contemporary African design. So more product design focused, more system design focused, art focused, and also academic in a way. So obviously on this, in this space, on this floor, we have the Future Talks Theatre, which is designed to create actionable insights for our industry. So it's slightly more trade focused. Decorex is possibly more consumer. It's, people coming, but so that's the difference.
No, it was fabulous. I sat in on 2-3 of the talks yesterday, and they were all so inspirational.
And
really
informative,
so informative. And I think, if you are able to attend things like that, as someone in the industry, you can only walk away feeling inspired and kind of ready to.
I want to talk a little bit about impact. We touched on that earlier. This expo, I understand, creates around about 1,000 jobs, some permanent, some just for the period that it's happening. Talk to me about the impact that has on those people as well as the Joburg economy.
Thank you for that question. It does. It has a significant thing. We employ a lot of people full-time throughout the year. So often people say to me, what do you do for the rest of the year? I can assure you, next week I start on the next show. It doesn't take us 2 weeks to put this together. So there are a lot of people who are fully employed. And then we do obviously bring in support staff and throughout that time. And also just the most amazing people make this exhibition possible. You cannot believe the crew of yes people who just, we come up with, I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but like 1 million problems problems trying
Yeah.
to put this
Yeah.
thing together. Like, we're building a little city in 4
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's some problems that we
Yeah.
encounter.
Yeah.
But everyone is...
There should be a
wouldn't know.
documentary actually
Oh
of
my
behind
God.
the
Yeah, you don't want to see it.
There is a
No.
nice show on Netflix that's like 7 days before, and it starts to track what happens.
Yeah, like you should do the build
that.
up.
Oh, no.
Maybe next year.
No, well, it's sometimes not pretty. But yeah, it's just a good amount of people. But more, I think, bigger than us.
Yeah.
I really believe that the creative economy in South Africa can create significant amount of jobs.
Yeah.
And I think that by people investing in the creative economy, investing in local design, we will create more jobs. So instead of necessarily buying from imports or the minute we make
Support.
we do conscious consumption,
Yeah.
we will create more jobs.
Yeah.
And what is your role specifically as executive creative director? What does that entail?
I am chief brat.
Are you the chief whip cracker?
No, yeah. It's more that I say no a lot.
Okay.
I'm teasing, but we want this to be an international design show.
Yeah.
So we are we're quite strict. If I'm
In
honest.
terms of who you allow.
Yeah, people apply
Yes,
to be
okay,
here.
yes.
We also need to make sure that we don't have too much of one kind of category.
Sure,
got you.
So sometimes it can feel a bit alienating, and people don't understand. But our job is to create an exhibition and an experience that is not dominated by any one sector. So we kind of, my role is almost as custodian of that and understanding where people fit in which floor, which category.
Yes.
And then also obviously helping all the exhibitors how they show up.
Yes.
And then creating our features. So
Yes.
we also, over and above having exhibitors come, we design our own features.
Yes.
So for example, the restaurants, certain exhibitions like Regenerate,
Yes.
the talks, theatres,
Yeah.
the cooking theatre, those kind of things. We design based on feedback, what do our visitors want, and how do we make sure that we deliver that?
Awesome. I have a question in terms of design. So walking around, and specifically on the 100% design floor that we're sitting on now, there are some definite elements, aesthetic elements that I can pick up on in terms of organic lines, the coloring, it's all very warm. Where we're sitting, just if you guys aren't watching this on YouTube, you will see a lot of rust tones, oranges, ochres. Is that something that was quite intentionally led by you guys in terms of the
To a degree,
curation?
Plascon is our paint partner, or our
Yes.
partner.
Yes.
We've worked with them
Yes.
for many, many years.
Yes.
So we work closely with their trend palette. So in terms of, they sponsor all the paint for all of our exhibitors
Okay.
at no charge.
Wonderful.
So we design a palette that is then available to our exhibitors. So it does create some harmony.
Yes.
And obviously, we choose that based on trends. I was very lucky enough to just go to the Milan Design Fair, and
Amazing.
those what we were picking up: terracottas,
Yes.
blushes,
Yes.
terracottas, blushes,
Yes.
terracottas,
Everywhere.
blushes.
I mean,
sage
this
green.
terracotta tile, it's
sage
beautiful.
green.
Yeah.
So
Tones, here we go.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
so it is gently guided, but also it's just, it's the community.
Yeah, sure.
They are very aware of
Exactly what's going on.
good. And,
Yeah.
and also, if you think about our colors, and trends, that we don't pick them from nowhere.
No, for
they
sure.
represent our zeitgeist, and they are. I do always find it remarkable walking through these halls, because this reflects the material culture of our time. This is putting our finger on the pulse of
Absolutely.
what people
Absolutely.
are gravitating. Why are we gravitating towards
Yeah.
blush? Because
Yeah.
it's calming. The
so warm and
Yeah,
encompassing, and it is.
the
It's
wavelengths
gorgeous.
are actually scientifically
Yeah.
designed to calm us. So
Yeah.
they don't come from nowhere.
Yeah. And I think specifically all the curves, the arches, we're seeing curved furniture absolutely everywhere. Everything is textural. All the fabrics, of boucles. Lots of Sherpa type of fabrics. It's
Yes.
all very comforting again.
Very.
Along those lines.
Yeah.
So it definitely, when you are walking through the halls, you can feel this lovely sense of kind of cohesiveness.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing their own thing,
Yeah.
but it really does feel really almost intentional.
No, it is in
Yeah.
many ways.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well,
Awesome.
I think it's such an amazing space of just immersion and inspiration, and you guys have done an amazing job.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for chatting to us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, and all the best. I'm so
Thank
excited
you.
to listen to the rest of the series.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your support.
Yeah.
Thanks, Belle.
Hopefully we'll see you next year.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely.
Belle.
Sure.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Our next guest is Steve Smith. He is the editor-in-chief of VISI magazine, which is a leading design publication in South Africa. And he's also been giving talks here at Decorex Joburg. They're called Future Talks. Hi, Steve. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
So a big feature of, it feels like the design industry in general now is that, sustainability has really come to the fore as something we need to concern ourselves with. Can you give us some highlights of the talk that you've been giving and what that's about?
Yeah, sure. So the talk really was about the business of sustainability because I think up until now, and I do think we're at a tipping point, mostly sustainable design has been something that's been a CSR project for corporates to balance, offset, the other stuff, the bad stuff that they're doing. Yeah. Or it's a nice to have, or it's really expensive. There's a couple of brands that I like, and they make sustainable bags, but it's a high price point. So that's not accessible to everyone. So our panel was really with a bunch of businesses and designers on how do you make a business that's sustainable in its essence, also profitable, and it's hard. It's really hard. So we had some people being very brave, like Bianca Shapiro, CEO of Wunders. She has a big business. It's been around for 40 years. She took it over from her dad. She employs a lot of people. They need to be profitable because she's supporting, they're job creators. They're supporting families. So there's that responsibility. And she's really trying hard to find out how she can turn her business into something that's a lot more sustainable from a design and manufacturing point of view. So just talking to her about what her challenges are and how she's overcoming them. It was talking to really interesting business.
AfriFungi. I sat in on that talk yesterday. It was fascinating.
Sven Molgaard, he's from AfriFungi. They are myco-innovators. So they're looking at and exploring ways of developing, either mushrooms, because mushrooms grow off like sawdust, actually. And they decompose biomaterial. So they're a sustainable product, obviously. But the other cool thing from a design point of view that they do is that the mycelium that they manufacture can be molded into and grown into like lampshades.
Yes, like there's that light fitting, that wall light. I mean, it's gorgeous and it's unbelievable when you go up close and you can actually see the mushroom quality of it. It's fascinating.
So that's part of the Regenerate exhibition that another one of our panelists actually helped put together, actually built. Cameron Barnes, and he's a furniture maker.
Yes.
And he's been he really is been
quite a pioneer, it seems. He's been over the years.
He's been talking about sustainability for a long time, and he set up his business as a furniture maker right from the beginning to be sustainable. And I think that's the key thing. So it's one thing dealing with the waste that a business might produce, and that's one area of sustainability. But the key thing, and I think especially from a design point of view, is you design from the very beginning to be sustainable.
Yes. As an interior designer, as a practicing interior designer, I think that was one of the big takeaways I took from listening to that panel yesterday, is the intention right at the beginning of a project, what can we do in terms of the products that we're specifying right at the beginning, the intention behind that. Obviously we all custom make a lot of stuff, having those conversations with all of those manufacturers, those teams. It was a lot of food for thought for me personally that I want to take back and start practicing, in our little niche in East London. It was very inspiring. So, I feel like those conversations need to be had more.
Yes, and they need to start happening, and that's why we had that panel at Future Talks. The key thing for somebody in your business is that you're curating something for a client, and you have a budget and a price point. And the question is, are you going to spend more on the chair that's sustainably made from sustainable materials, but is 20% more versus something else? So that's the pain point, I think, for sustainable design. And once we can get the price point to an equitable place, then as a few of the designers who were in the audience said, I would definitely choose the one that has the provenance of sustainability to it. So it's the key thing of getting that business right.
And educating the greater public who are the consumer of the product at the end of the day.
This is what I would like to understand is the why. Why are sustainably sourced products and materials or finished products generally higher in price point than those that are not?
I think that they shouldn't always be. but if you're looking at stuff that's made out of waste, there's quite a process going on that goes on to collect. So the other panelists, Maggie and Fante from Infinite Industries, they make board that you would use for stands here out of waste material, including toothpaste tubes and a whole bunch of stuff that they put together and make these boards. So their price point as opposed to chipboard is, I think, slightly more, but not much more. But then I think for a brand who's wanting to be sustainable is probably going to use that. Sealand Gear Store in Sandton City, the new one there. I know they've used
that board.
Infinite Industries material there. So to get back to that point about why is it expensive? It's expensive to make. It's labor intensive, I think, at the moment. I think big manufacturers aren't using sustainable materials, which is when you get your economies of scale. So it's generally small makers.
Yeah.
Sealand are an example. They're, I would say, a medium-sized business now, but their price point's quite high. The manufacturing quality is brilliant, but their sustainable and credentials are impeccable. If you look at Maggie's business, she's taking a whole bunch of stuff. It could be plastics from the sea, toothpaste tubes, pets, and she's making it into a thing. She's not sorting those things out themselves individually because that's expensive to do.
I suppose there's quite a few processes involved before they get to the stage of making the product.
So it's economies of scale. It's the point was once everyone's doing it, it becomes cheaper and acceptable. And I think the tide of public opinion is changing quite quickly at the moment to I will make that sustainable choice.
And that's the thing I was going to also ask is how far away do you think we are from that place where it's become the norm? How far away do you think we are?
If you'd asked me 2 years ago, I would have said far away. But I've been quite buoyed by quite a rapid change, and that's a very subjective take, right? But I really get the feeling, and I see through the feedback through our readers,
that was the question I was going to ask.
They want to see the things that really ping on our radar as press in the design world. I'm seeing it more and more and more and more. And it gives me real hope.
Awesome. In terms of VISI as a publication, is sustainability something that you guys are really trying to showcase in your publications going forward now?
Yeah. Absolutely. We're pretty passionate about it, and there's a number of initiatives that we're trying to help the process along and really showcase people who are doing it and start conversations like we're doing at Future Talks. I mean, that's one of the reasons we're here.
Sure.
We're also media partner to a new initiative called Circular Squared.
Yes.
So that's a non-profit, and they are really dot joiners. So they're joining the dots between industry who have waste and who want something to do with it because it's they are responsible for their waste to a maker who
match them with someone
to right through to a place to sell it and an education process involved and all of that. So it's a total
amazing
design. Again, I mean that's great because we're dealing with waste, but the key thing is to start designing from the beginning.
Yes.
To understand the life cycle of what you're making.
Yeah.
I think also being press in this space, you have quite a vantage point. As you say, you've been able to observe trends like sustainability growing more and more. What other trends are you seeing and where do you think is the future of design heading?
That's quite a tough question to answer.
I know.
What I can say is I'm extremely excited about the design that's coming out of South Africa.
Yeah,
I really,
so exciting.
Yeah, I mean, you've walked around here, you've seen,
it's amazing.
You've seen the stuff that's happening up in Joburg.
Yeah,
I think we're in a golden era of design in South Africa. I think that we've got some real icons who are being recognized now, and we've got a younger generation coming up who've been inspired by those people and are making very specific South African identifiable material, furniture and lighting, and I can see there are different scenes that are going on.
Yes.
I think if I look at Cape Town, and we've seen the rise of Cape Town Furniture Week over the last couple of years, there's very much a Scandi kind of minimalist influence going on here in Cape Town. In Joburg, there's a strong Afro-modern vibe that's coming through. That's so exciting
to see. It's so exciting. It's like a melting pot of all kinds of things. Yeah. And I think sitting in on Tristan Duplessis' talk yesterday on the power of collaboration, he touched on that. And someone asked, what is the South African design aesthetic? And it was such a fabulous question. And he answered it.
It was a fabulous answer. Sorry, it wasn't a fabulous question.
But it was such a good question.
It was a great answer.
I think people have this idea, perhaps, of what is the South African design aesthetic. And the way he answered it just completely hit the nail on the head. I mean, as someone who is an interior designer in South Africa, I was like, that would be it, you know.
Yeah, I was asking.
It was so fabulous
because I was really interested in his response. Would he talk about it as a kind of Afro-modern thing, or as a more of a modernist, kind of minimalist? But his response that it was, you can identify South African design by the soulfulness, and he drew the comparison to South African music, which is really breaking down barriers and is very celebrated internationally. And I think he was completely spot on. The stuff that's happening in the music is happening in our design too.
Yeah, it's very exciting. It's very exciting to be an interior designer, as I'm sure you know. For you guys being a publication in design in South Africa. It does just feel like there really is a world of possibilities out there for us. People are watching South Africa, seeing what we're doing. People are producing amazing products, amazing work, and it's very exciting.
It is.
And very exciting to kind of be here to celebrate all those things as well
It's
at
exciting for us
Decorex.
to document it. It feels like we're lucky to be around at this time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Oh, well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for
It was great.
To chat to you both.
Thank you
thanks,
for your
Steve.
insights.
Yeah.
We are here with Ramielle De Jager. She is the founder of the Wolkberg Casting Studio, and hers is a real success story in sort of local women in business in the design sector. They make amazing limestone
I'm a big
tiles.
fan.
Bridget is a big fan as an
of their
interior
products.
designer.
Yeah, I have used your guys' tiles in a lot of my projects in East London. So
Thank you.
very, big fans of Wolkberg. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, and just to set the scenes for you guys, obviously if you're watching on YouTube, you will see we are sitting in the beautiful Wolkberg designed restaurant here at 100% Design. If you are listening on Spotify, just to kind of set the scene, there are the most beautiful terracotta tiles on a back counter over here where you can get the most delicious food. There is the most beautiful flooring detail that you guys have. Oh,
I
don't you
want to
run
know
us
about
through?
the concept.
Yes, it's
for
beautiful.
the space that we're in. Tell us about it.
Okay.
Creating it. What did it take?
Yes. It took a lot of time and energy and money. But the concept, let's talk about the concept. So Wolkberg is an industrial design and manufacturing company, and normally we would exhibit in the traditional format.
Yes.
So in the last 2 years, I just found like I was seeking more meaningful engagement with my community. So I decided, okay, how else can I get involved in this platform, but in a more meaningful way? So I thought, let's take a space where we can activate it in a different manner with collaborators. And since it's always in August, Women's Month,
Love that,
right?
yes.
My idea, and also Wolkberg this year is the first time it's a 100% female-owned business.
Oh, that's amazing.
So in celebration of that, I thought, let me bring on other strong female entrepreneurs. And when I say strong, I don't, because we're all strong.
Yes.
We have to be, right?
Yeah, sure.
And I'm not a feminist in a negative way. It's just that I'm trying to highlight the achievements of these women when they do make successful businesses, right? So I brought on Mpo from Food I Love You.
Yes.
And we thought, okay, this is a passionate conversation that I'm always engaging in, is how food and design are so closely linked to each other, right? You as an interior designer and you guys being involved in this industry, you know this.
Yes.
A lot
I'm
of people
also
don't know
foodie
that.
at heart, so
Right,
I have great passion for conversations.
Right.
Personally.
So we want to bring to the forefront how design and food go together, not just from the fact that we're like, we have the same energy, from a business perspective, okay? Because 70% of our business came from the hospitality industry when we started off. That is where we got the money to grow this thing. And I really want to bring that to the forefront and make other entrepreneurs aware.
Awesome.
Oftentimes, design is inspired by food, isn't it?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, they are. I mean,
Yes.
everything it's got to do with the senses, I think we can say. But actually interesting that you are talking about this, because yesterday I was sitting in on Tristan Duplessis' talk that he did, and obviously he's very much involved in hospitality
Yes.
design, and one of the things that he was talking about in, you know, when they conceptualize, obviously one of the big things is the food, it's the experience
Indeed.
of the person coming to eat at the restaurant. You know, it's definitely not all about aesthetics, it's the whole experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
So 100%.
That's exactly what
Yeah.
we were doing here.
Yeah.
Is that we wanted to showcase the brand synergies between
Yes.
us and Food I Love You.
Yes.
And also have people experience it in real time. So you're not just looking at it from a video or a photograph.
Absolutely.
You're here, you're sitting, and tell me you don't feel things.
You
when
feel
you're in the
something
space.
when you are in this
100%.
space.
And that's why let's chat
Definitely.
about the coloring that you
Yes.
specifically chose. I'm
Right.
pretty I mean, I'm sure the terracotta, what is the name of this actually specific color that you guys
Okay.
have chosen?
So technically, let's get this right.
Yeah.
Wolkberg manufactures an innovation.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
called limestone.
Yes.
That's our innovation, right? It's a high performance concrete with a 4-star eco label rating. Now the color is an add-on into
Yes.
the mix.
Yes.
This is called Syrah. So
Okay.
it's a rich wine sort
beautiful.
of color.
It's gorgeous.
I think for us, and you'll notice if you've been to our showroom in Parkhurst, I also chose Syrah for our feature kitchen, right? It's just such a strong, bold color. It commands your attention, but it also feels like a warm hug.
It's a warm hug, right?
Well, I think that's what I feel. It's very warm and engaging.
Yes.
It's very soulful. Again, a word that we've been speaking a lot about here
Yes.
at Decorex.
Yeah.
It's very organic. I mean, look, obviously there's a lot of warm colors walking
Yes.
around, especially on this floor at 100% design.
Yeah.
It's so beautifully curated in terms of the warmth that you are feeling.
Yeah.
But I do think that this color specifically does lend itself to something being really appetizing. It does get those
Yes.
senses going, you know, which
Yeah.
is such a great choice. Yeah.
And I think eating spaces in exhibitions like this tend to be afterthoughts sometimes, where it's just like, oh, that's just where we go eat. But to have created such an elevated space
Yeah.
for that purpose, I think also speaks to, you know, that level of thinking
Yeah.
and just elevating that
Yeah,
experience.
but I mean,
for
hospitality
guests.
design is such a big part of the interior design
It is.
industry.
I think we all make our money there.
And it's where people get to really play around with design concepts and doing innovative things. So I think it is such a fabulous showcase
Yes.
of a product, and to really set the scene for something really creative and
Indeed.
inspiring.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
exactly it. I want people to come here, and when they sit here, be inspired.
Oh, absolutely.
Be inspired
Yeah.
to go out and do their own thing. And that was the same for our showroom, by the way. It was like, okay, we want people to walk into our showroom and feel free to say, can I host my podcast from your showroom?
Yeah.
That
Well,
was
you
my vision.
beautiful
maybe
space.
maybe we'll come next week.
That was my vision. I
Yes.
said, anyone
Yeah.
who wants to use the space in
Yeah.
a creative way is welcome to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you guys said this yesterday, I was like, yeah, of course, because
be in the space.
that's the point.
Yeah.
That is the
Yes.
point.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I want to chat about the organic lines. Obviously, there's a lot of curves on your space. There's arches.
Yeah.
The whole counter is curved. We have rounded tables. We are sitting in a curved seating arrangement, which is gorgeous. Tell us about that.
Yes.
Um,
So for me, being a female,
Yeah.
you know, we're strong, yes, but we also have a soft side, right?
Yeah.
Now, our material, limestone, is probably one of the hardest materials. It's so brute. It's so
And doesn't it get
masculine.
stronger with
it's
time?
stronger with time. There's so many harsh, hard things about it, right? From a design perspective, we want to create furniture that adds an element of softness to it.
Love that as
we
a concept.
round our
Yeah.
curves. We try to R&D molds that have more organic forms because it's easy to cast something in a square format.
Yeah.
But also our innovation is that we have this surface finish. It's called dimensions. So we really try to push ourselves to get organic forms while still achieving our innovative texture.
And that's the thing that your product really does do, because everything has this beautiful rendered quality,
Yeah.
which does. It's
Yeah.
so organic. It's so textural.
Yeah.
It's got such a beautiful. I mean, you just you know you want to
Yes, you want to touch it.
You just want to
Yes.
touch it. Yeah.
So the curves on the stand is speaking to that.
Yeah.
It's speaking to how we want to always incorporate organic, soft elements into a product which normally would have been a very harsh, stark,
Brutalistic.
cold product that gets used in construction.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now we're bringing it into the interior spaces. So we're not just bringing it into the interior spaces in its original form. We've changed it a little, elevated it, and making it easy for you guys to embrace it, right?
Yes, yes.
It's gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Tell me now, what are you excited about when you think about the future of design? Where do you think we're headed? What makes you excited?
Yeah, I think radical collaboration is the way forward, and this is the start of it. So for me, I know as an entrepreneur in the design industry, it is not easy to pass the initial hurdles before you actually become a sustainable brand or business. I think if more of us get together
Yeah.
to lift each other up and pull each other along, you know, that's how the industry is going to grow.
Absolutely.
So I think the future of design for us, at least for the immediate future, is that we're going to pull each other forward and up. And we're willing to do that for any newcomers as well. And I say this because I speak to all of my industry colleagues all the time.
Yes.
And we all feel the same way.
Everyone's in the same boat.
Everybody's on the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
page
Yeah.
when it comes to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel anymore like the media is dictating to us what to do. It feels like we're taking it into our own hands
Yeah.
and we're making things happen. So I think we're going to see more and more interesting things like that.
Yes.
Unexpected things. Like you wouldn't expect a manufacturer of products to be sitting as the design feature of a
Yes.
show like
Yeah.
this, right?
Yeah.
Where it's incorporating other elements from the creative side, or like anything, like food.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where I think the future is.
It's very exciting. Like
Yes.
I was having now Steve Smith from VISI was just having a chat
Yeah.
with us, and we were talking about how you can feel the kind of excitement in the air in terms of like where design in South Africa is at the moment. It's an exciting place to be.
It is.
It feels very celebratory. It
Yeah.
feels very like we are here. We are doing cool things. We have awesome things available to us. People are being very pioneering and innovative, and it's very exciting. The possibilities
Yeah.
just feel very
Real.
and
Yes,
exciting.
It doesn't feel out of our reach anymore.
Yes,
Yeah?
yes,
You get that.
absolutely.
I'm
Yeah.
so glad.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So it's not just me.
loving this sense of community that I've come
Yeah.
to feel here with,
Yeah.
you know, what you're saying about collaboration. I think really we can all get further
Yeah.
together. So
Absolutely.
that's really, really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ramielle, thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for taking the
Ramielle.
time to chat to
Yes.
us.
No, this has
and
been
for
so
allowing
great.
us in
Thank
your beautiful
you.
space.
Thank
So
you. Thank you.
beautiful.
you.
Yeah. And we will
Thank
share
you.
more photos of this beautiful space.
Yes,
so keep
definitely.
watching, guys.
What have been your highlights while we've been here?
Sure, Linz. I think for me, I've really enjoyed the talks that
Yeah.
I have been to listen to people who are, at the top of their game in the interior design world in South Africa, actually, and on the world platform, has been so inspirational. Listening to people talking about collaboration, sustainability. These are all things that have got me thinking personally in my own little interior design world as a practicing interior designer, what I can do to make things better and elevate. So that has been fabulous. But yeah, just having a look around. I mean, being surrounded by creatives who
Yeah.
are all part of the same industry. It's so inspiring seeing all the product availability that is all homegrown. It is all proudly South African, and you can see there's such a vastness of
Absolutely.
different things that we are
Sure,
seeing.
guys,
and it's
there
all
are 4
South African.
levels of this exhibition.
Five levels.
Floor by
Five.
floor by floor
Yeah.
of just the most incredible installations, massive slabs of marble. I mean, I can't imagine what it took to set this whole thing up. But
So impressive.
Yeah, and I think for you as an interior designer, what you then take away from here, as you're saying, you can apply in your business. You can obviously make connections and all of those things, have relationships with suppliers. It really is an amazing platform for industry professionals.
Yes.
But for me as a
Yes,
consumer,
consumer.
I think the inspiration that you are able to get from something like this is next level. If you are in the middle of a project for your home or your office or whatever it is that you're busy doing, it's such an amazing place to really get all of that inspiration. These are literally real life Pinterest boards. Do you know what I mean? This, you don't need to go to Pinterest. Just come here and then experience this. And I highly encourage people to come to next year's Decorex Expos, whether it's in Joburg or Cape Town. It's been an amazing experience for us to immerse ourselves in this and just be inspired.
Be inspired. Yeah, totally in the world of design.
Definitely. I want to say congrats to our giveaway winners who won tickets from My Stylish Life.
I hope you guys have come and enjoyed your walk around.
Absolutely.
And yes, we would just like to say a very big thank you to Decorex Africa.
Yes.
For partnering with us.
Absolutely. Also the event organizers, Sandra Jardim from RX Global, the Scout PR team. You guys were so helpful. Thank you so much for the access.
Yeah, and thank you to our guests.
Yes.
Bielle Bellingham.
Absolutely.
Steve Smith.
Ramielle De Jager. It's been so amazing. And to you guys for watching. We appreciate you. We love you. Subscribe to the channel. Share our links. Like us follow us on Instagram. And
we'll be back soon.
We'll be back. Thank you so much for watching.
Thanks, guys.
And
Bye.
listening.